welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of February 22nd, 2026. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me tonight, one single solitary soul.
Craft.
Hey, man. It's rare that it's just you and I anymore.
Yeah, that is rare.
There's always that other guy.
Yeah. What's he up to right now? Why isn't he here?
Oh, he's out marrying his sister. Which is a silly joke, but that's where he is. He's officiating his sister's wedding, I think tonight. He might be doing it right now as we record. No, it was probably yesterday. But way down in San Diego land. His whole family was supposed to go, but his kid got sick this week, like pretty bad with the flu. So,
oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, so the kid and the wife stayed home, which means we didn't get to take care of the rats. See, that was the thing. He asked me earlier. He was like, "Hey, man, we're going to be gone for my sister's wedding. Can you watch the rats?" I was like, "Of course, man." Alas, no rat time for me.
Oh.
Yeah. So, life goes on, I guess. The podcast certainly does.
Obla-dee, obla-da. Yep.
Oh. What is that, the Rolling Stones? What have you been up to, man?
Let's see. We went to a comedy show last night, which was fun.
Okay.
There's a cool new cocktail bar next to the comedy club that we've been waiting to open. Like, it's been set up for like literally a year, and they've just been waiting for their liquor license to get approved, and it finally did. So they opened up. So we hung out there for an hour before the show, and it's like right next to the comedy club, which is pretty cool. And then we saw the show. It was really good. It was a comedian. Her name was Heather Shaw.
Okay.
And she was pretty funny. I'd never heard of her before. We go to the comedy club here, I don't know, like once a month or once every couple months. They usually have good comedians no matter what. We did look up some of her stuff before we went. And they do get touring comedians. Like, they're not just all local comedians. Like, they'll have the host and a couple people beforehand who are local people. But
right, the openers.
They actually yeah, we've seen real comedians here that we'd heard of from other places.
They're all real comedians. I mean,
they're all real comedians.
Some of them just aren't that funny.
Yeah, but I'd never heard of her before, but she was really funny. I would definitely recommend, if you ever have the opportunity to see her, definitely go see her. You can check out her stuff online. She's got plenty of stuff. But so her, one of her things is she looks very much like Jim Carrey.
I think I know who you're talking about. Let me look her up real quick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, some of her jokes are about that. Because, I mean, she obviously knows she looks like Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah. I've seen her on Instagram a bunch. And yeah, she looks like a female version of Jim Carrey. That's crazy.
Yeah. Huh. She's very open about being a lesbian, and she's very political, but not, I don't know, not necessarily in your, she brought up politics, and it was funny because we're in a very red area of a red state. But people who are at a comedy show, I would think, know to expect or are going to be more the liberal, progressive people in the community. And I think that does tend to be the case. But, there's always some people, she was like, "Oh, this area of the room isn't laughing, but I don't know what's wrong with them." But we're like, they're probably pretty against. But it's why are you here then? If you're, what did you expect from a comedy show?
Yeah.
But
why would a grumpy person go to a comedy show? Why do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that's awesome, man. That's cool. Was it just her, or were there opening acts and all that stuff too?
Yeah, there were opening guys, and it's a couple of them we had seen before. One of them's pretty funny. What's his name? I think it's Tyler Elliott. I remember his name because his last name is one of my son's names. And he has, I mean, I don't know if he has stuff online, but if he does, I recommend finding it. he's got this delivery, which is, I wish I could think of another comedian to explain it, but it's just very understated and deadpan, but like really like dark comedy, which I like a lot. So he's pretty funny.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm looking. He's got an Instagram, Tyler Elliott Comedy. I am assuming this is the guy. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna throw some links in our show notes if people are interested in these comedians. There's links in our show notes. Awesome. I excuse me.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Oh man, so I caught up on A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a banger of a show, man. Especially
We'll watch it. We'll watch it eventually. I think we're getting there.
Yeah, so it's a different vibe than the other Game of Thrones stuff, which I think we've talked about a bit. But to throw that in like sharp contrast, the trailer for the third season of House of the Dragon dropped recently.
Oh, yeah.
Which is more
I didn't
like
watch it. I think you texted it to Ben and I forgot to watch it.
Yeah. Whenever I see like a new trailer, I always send it to you guys because I know that I'm up and looking at stuff when you guys are like, working a job. So I figure I have a chance to, what am I trying to say? When things are first released, I'll probably see it first. So I always try to share. Anyways, so that trailer came out and it was like, oh, that's right. Huge epic storytelling. And there's dragons and armies and people looking really upset with each other all over the place. And it's like, oh man. And then A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is like, oh, just an old hedge knight, just trying to do my best. It's such a different show. And they like scaled it down appropriately. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have it's like the small folk, and he's got like the story that it's based on is like this short story. There's 3 short stories, and that's going to be the 3 seasons, and that's it as far as I know.
Okay.
But it's interesting too because you can find like little breakdowns on YouTube or whatever of like times that these characters were mentioned in a Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. And there was one really specific one where Jaime Lannister is showing somebody else a book of the Kingsguard. And the Kingsguard are the like 12, however many, 12 knights or something that are sworn to only protect the king. They can't hold lands. They can't marry. It's like that's their only job. It's like the highest honor. And all of their deeds are recorded in this giant tome. And like as an aside, he's like someone's flipping through it, and they're like, Sir Duncan the Tall, 4 whole pages to his deeds. And so like now we're seeing like his origin kind of, and knowing that he has like this grand story ahead of him, but right now he's just a lowly hedge knight trying to survive. And it's cool, man. It's a fun show that, they're like half an hour. The episode's like half an hour. It's very concise storytelling, and there's some cool characters, and I recommend it, especially if I'm speaking specifically to our listeners. I know you'll get to it eventually, but if you're a fan of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, like this is just more of that, but a different point of view of that world. And timeline wise, it takes place right between House of the Dragon and when a Game of Thrones starts. It's like right in the middle. 80 years after one, 80 years before the other, something like that.
I mean, I guess there's no such thing as spoilers because there's so many books and stuff, but
yeah.
Does it spoil House of the Dragon a bit to be like, oh, well, this person wins this war or whatever? But I mean, I guess since Game of Thrones took place after House of the Dragon, we already know.
Yeah, well, Game of Thrones, you're like, oh, Targaryens aren't around. There's one, and she's marrying a Dothraki. And, of course, House of the Dragon is like, oh, the Targaryens are in control of, like, everything. And so in this show, the Targaryens are still – and this is, like, in the show. The Targaryens are part of the show in a major way. But it is well known that they, one, no longer have dragons, and two, why should we listen to them? Because they don't have dragons anymore. Like there's that whole thing going on, and because of that, they have to go around and visit different holdings and stuff to like, hey, we're still here, we're still in control. Like, yeah, we don't have dragons, but here we are. So they have to interact with the small folk more because of that, because they don't have the dragons to cement their control. And it kind of works. You have to watch the show to see. But yeah, it's just like interesting in between of like the fall, the start of the fall of the Targaryens, if you will. It's but that's not the main thrust or the main focus of the show, but they're there for sure. And an event happens in the show that changes the destiny of the Targaryens, if you will. Like there is when you look at the lineage of like, okay, who's supposed to be king next? Oh, wow, this awesome guy. Oops, something happened to him, and maybe he's not going to be king now. It's one of those things like, oh, this was a turning point in their legacy, and it happens like when Dunk's around. So kind of cool. So that's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. HBO, everyone knows that. Yesterday, I ran another one of my Mutant Crawl Classics games, which is always fun. The second of the location that they were searching out was like an old, an ancient, was it missile launch facility, something like that. I think that's what it was called. Where one of the characters, their AI god Gaia, which is a grouping of weather control satellites that have gained sentience and now have devotees down on the planet, sent this shaman to this place to launch another weather satellite. So it was found, and then they had to go, investigate where it was, search through the facility, and figure out how to launch the thing. And we got through half of that two sessions ago, and then yesterday they finished it off. And unfortunately, we had a character die. It was rough going. Yeah. It was one of their more powerful characters as well. So the whole deal was that they had, and they didn't really know this because when they first got there, they instantly killed the people that were going to give them an exposition dump. Right? There's some people that they could fight or talk to, and they just murdered. And so, like, they didn't know what they were in for. So they just went down and started exploring, which is totally fine. That's a play style. You can do that, and they had fun doing it, and I'm not upset at all. But they didn't have, like, a clear goal other than the shaman had, like a radar in his head, almost like pointing to one of the computers that his god was pointing him to. Cool. So, what ended up happening is they had to go to this one computer console, get coordinates, and put that into the main computer, and then go down and fix the fuel pump, and then fill the rocket full of fuel, and then go back up and hit the launch button, and Bob's your uncle. Easy as that. Well, what they didn't know, but what I knew, is that a very, very powerful enemy was waiting for them in the pump room, and it was the last thing for them to do. And I made it hard on purpose to see if they were all gonna, if they all stood together and fought, they had a chance, a slim chance, but a chance. Or if they all ran, which is totally an option, they could all get away safely. Unfortunately, they chose option 3, where half of them ran, half of them stayed to fight. And that was no good. And it was funny because the template for this enemy was what did they call it? A synthezoid android. It was a Terminator, right? Like that's what it was mimicking. So it was this powerful machine, covered in flesh with a leather jacket, jeans, and a shotgun. Like it was straight up just a Terminator. Just to see what they would do. And the first thing he did was like run at somebody and bash them and knock them down. And then used a shotgun to shoot someone else, knock them down. So like 2 people were down like right away in combat. I think that's when everyone else started to run. And then so the guy that ended up dying was a plantient. And so in this game, Mutant Crawl Classics, you can be a pure strain human, which if you're a pure strain human, you could be a sentinel or a shaman or a healer or a rover. There's like these other like little subclasses if you're a human. Or you can be a mutant, or you could be a manimal, which is half person, half animal, or you can be a plantient, which is a sentient plant. So this was a plantient, I think he was like an oak tree or something. So he looked like Groot essentially, right? Except there was a point where he got extra mutations when he leveled up, and I did the mutation rolls, and they were all really, really good. And so he ended up sprouting 3 extra legs. So we had 5 legs in total, and I think an extra arm. And so he could move around really fast because of all of his legs. Like the extra feet added move speed. And normally plantients are a lot slower. They move 20 foot per turn. And with all his legs, he could move like 80 feet per turn or something like that. But the most powerful thing is he had a mutant power that was gravitational lensing.
Cool.
Yeah, so essentially what he would do, and he did this many times throughout other adventures, reach out and cause a ball of dense gravity to appear, and that thing would just shred whatever was around it and just suck it into a singularity and just destroy it. So he, runs up in front of everyone. I think he took a shotgun blast to the chest, was still alive, and then attempted to cast his gravitational deal, and it failed, which is totally a thing in this game. And when you try to cast something and you fail, there are different fail states. The one that he got was failure, power cannot be used again this day. So he had one chance, nope. And then this Terminator thing got him with a second shotgun blast and just sawed him in half, and that was that. And everyone else, at that point, everyone else had run. And so we had to say goodbye to Plank, the plantient. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes, They saved a splinter of his wood, and when they got back to their home village, they planted it in the jungle, hoping that it'll regrow him. So we'll see if that happens or not. They were joking that they were going to have him in a little potted plant and keep him like how they did with Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a fun game. You got a little bit of everything in there. It's good times. All right. Yeah, I guess we're probably good there. I think it's about time to talk some science. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So it's time for future or now. Now.
No.
All right, man. Why don't you hit it first? I've been talking. So what have you got for us this week?
Okay. This is, I guess, biologically speaking or evolutionarily speaking, whatever it is. This is based on an article from Science Daily, and it's titled "Scientists Find Genes That Existed Before All Life on Earth." And the summary is, life's story may stretch further back than scientists once thought. Some genes found in nearly every organism today were already duplicated before all life shared a common ancestor. By tracking these rare genes, researchers can investigate how early cells worked and what features of life emerged first. New computational tools are now helping scientists unlock this hidden chapter of evolution. So what this comes down to is they talk about Luca, the last universal common ancestor, which all life on Earth is descended from.
Oh, the sea creatures from that Pixar movie.
Oh yeah.
I wonder.
I've said it before. I've wondered before. Yeah, did they know? Was that intentional when they named that character?
It must have been.
It must have been, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I whenever talking about Luca, I always think it's an awesome idea that every single living thing on the planet is descended from a common ancestor, that like we're all kind of part of the same family, obviously very, very extended family, but
Right.
technically if tree of life goes back far enough, you are related to every single living thing that exists on this planet.
Except for
So it's pretty
maybe
cool.
maybe mushrooms and octopuses. Those things are too weird.
Yeah, probably, but yeah. Um, so what that means is that how do we find out what life was like before then? Like, what possible research can we do? Because just because there's a universal common ancestor for all life that exists today, there still could have been different life forms before that point that just went extinct. There could have been a branching before Luca, and then, but those other branches died off. And because if they didn't, then we would move Luca back. But so to figure out what happened, what we can figure out or what we can study from then, what they do is they use what are they called? Paralogs, which is a group of related genes that appear multiple times within a single genome. And for an example, they talk about humans. Humans have a clear example. Our DNA contains 8 different hemoglobin genes, all of which produce proteins that carry oxygen through the blood. These genes all originated from a single ancestral globin gene that existed around 800 million years ago. Over long periods of time, repeated copying errors produced extra versions of these genes, and each copy gradually developed into its own specialized role. So we can see that when there are copies of the same genes, even if they're slightly different because of mutations that happened afterwards, we know that there were mutations at some point, that there was a single gene and then it copied itself and it kept both copies within the genome, and then throughout time they kind of like drifted apart more as mutations came along. So what they do is they look for universal paralogs. So these are universal, so all organisms have them, so they derive from Luca. And they can see that for these copies to exist and have the differences they have, that those differences must have occurred before Luca.
Oh, okay.
So it's evidence of evolution occurring before the last universal common ancestor. So in an area of time that's almost impossible to what?
Oh, I was just gonna say that makes complete
Hello?
sense.
Stephen?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, can you not hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, I sound like you. No, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you
all
hear me?
right. Yeah, I can hear you. Everything's good.
Okay, so these paralogs, these universal paralogs, it says their widespread presence suggests that the original gene duplication occurred before the last universal common ancestor emerged. Those duplicated genes were then passed down through countless generations and remain present in life today. Because of this deep evolutionary reach, the authors argue that universal paralogs are a critical yet often overlooked resource for studying the earliest history of life on Earth. And then it's interesting because now we're talking about AI again. This approach is becoming more practical as new AI-based techniques and AI-optimized hardware make it easier to analyze ancient genetic patterns in detail.
I mean, that's perfect
So they
for
do
AI.
talk a little bit about what, yeah.
It's perfect for AI because you give it a huge chunk of
You're-
data and you say, "Here, find stuff in here," and it can, and that's great.
Not only can it analyze a lot of data that would take forever for humans to do themselves, it can find patterns that even if us humans went through the data, we wouldn't see, like, because it's so complicated. But AI can be like, well, there's a pattern here. It's a very complicated pattern, but a computer, it could find it where we couldn't.
And
So,
and it's important to
that's
note
awesome.
that when it does find those patterns, it does not assign meaning to them. Right? It just says, "Hey, these things match." It doesn't know what that means. It just finds the pattern, and then it's still up to the humans
Yeah.
to look at these patterns and say, "Okay, what does this mean? If this, therefore what?" Which
Yeah, one of
Go ahead.
one of the other articles. Yeah, one of the other articles I was looking at doing was kind of just a general review of ethics and consciousness and AI. And I was like, yeah, that we've talked about that to death, and there's not really anything new. But
Yeah.
yeah, AI does not assign meaning to things because it doesn't have the ability to actually have consciousness. But maybe
Right.
one day it will. Um, all right. So, and then they talk about what these genes actually do when they identify them, and they do kind of like the basic things that you would expect. Um, every one of these genes plays a role in either building proteins or moving molecules across cell membranes. This finding suggests that protein production and membrane transport were among the first biological functions to evolve. Obviously, since these are the most ancient genes and they existed before Luca, these are things that evolved first and then passed on to all life on Earth. The researchers emphasize the importance of reconstructing the ancient forms of these genes. In one study, scientists examined a universal paralog family involved in inserting enzymes and other proteins into cell membranes. Using standard methods from evolutionary biology and computational biology, they reconstructed the protein produced by the original ancestral gene. This showed that this simpler ancient protein could still attach to cell membranes and interact with machinery that makes proteins. It likely helped early proteins embed themselves into primitive membranes, offering insight into how these earliest cells may have operated. Um, so yeah, it just caps off with saying it's a window into the earliest life on Earth. The goal is to build a clearer picture of evolution before the last universal common ancestor, shedding light on how life as we know it first emerged. Um, yeah.
So what I was thinking was, we have a Luca, right? A last common ancestor. Is there
Mhm.
another line of evolution that existed parallel to ours that turned into something completely different that is still around today?
Um, I wouldn't say no because we don't know everything, but I feel like if there were, we would have discovered it by now.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so.
just because it would either have to be something so small that we haven't seen it, and then it kind of we wonder like how did it survive, um,
Like maybe
or
something
it would
that
have to be.
lives near the ocean vents or whatever, like something that we're not
Yeah.
around
Well,
very often. We don't really.
I mean, viruses kind of are that because
Okay.
viruses, we I've seen diagrams of the tree of life where they actually have viruses in a separate box being like it actually doesn't connect to the tree of life. So I don't know. I have no idea what the theories are on how viruses evolved. If they have a different abiogenesis, like a complete. I mean, obviously they relate to our biology well enough to be able to affect us and
Yeah.
use us. So use our life, all life, us as in all life on Earth. So I don't know about that. That's the only thing I can think of that would possibly qualify for that. But I don't know
Okay.
what the theories are on how closely related they are. I also wanted to say Veritasium did a really cool video. All their videos are really cool, but where it went into the selfish gene, which is the Richard Dawkins book and the theory that he came up with. That video starts off because you got to separate evolution from abiogenesis, which a lot of people who are anti-evolution have trouble doing. But abiogenesis, how life started on Earth, not how life differentiated into different species and all the diversity we see. Evolution is how once life was started, then we see all the different species arise. Um, but it goes through first in that video. It does go through abiogenesis and then goes into evolution. But it does an awesome job of showing abiogenesis and saying like how if you just have the simplest replicators come together, whatever chemicals it was, there's different theories, but whatever, as long as you get a molecule that can replicate and then it interacts with its environment, and depending on if the environment helps it replicate or what characteristics it ends up mutating to, because when it replicates it mutates and can obtain a new characteristic, and goes through all like how that would end up propagating and then changing, and then if you have different competition between different replicators and how they can take over environments, and it just says it's a really cool visual way I even showed it to my son Nolan, and it even like I think they put like little happy faces on them and like give them little characterizations, so it's easy to
Yeah.
follow. But the idea that like that's how life started, inorganic matter, as long as it finds a way through this is where chance comes in. Chance,
Yeah.
there's very bad arguments against evolution about chance because they don't understand evolution, but there is chance involved there when you get the right things to come together. But once you have so many of those things and so many different combinations and so many opportunities for it to happen, it can happen. Hopefully, it happened more than once in the universe, not just here. But
Well,
once
I mean,
that happens,
yeah, that's the thing.
yeah,
There is that if we can understand this, we can look at other places in the universe and say, oh, they have these, building blocks A, B, and C, or A, T, C, G, or whatever. And so because of that, there's a higher chance or probability, whatever, that this spontaneity over time would occur the same way there as it did here. And these, and so
yeah.
that would make sense with how many billions and trillions and quadrillions of stars there are, that there would be some planets around those stars that would have similar characteristics as us.
Did you hear anything about the recent thing with Obama and aliens?
No, can't say as I have.
No.
Uh-uh.
So it's a really funny thing because it happened on a show. It's actually a YouTube show that I watch frequently. I should have the guy's name on the top of my head, but he's a political commentator, and he posts videos like multiple times a day, commenting on whatever breaking news there is.
Okay.
But he interviewed Obama. I'm getting his name because it's really dumb. I don't have his name off the top of my head, but Brian Tyler Cohen.
Okay.
But he's got 5 million followers on YouTube. Anyway, he interviewed Obama, and at the end he does like a lightning round question type thing, and he asked Obama if there are aliens, and Obama's just kind of joking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think there's aliens," and then he's like, "Oh, do you know, or like as president, did you get information?" He's like, "Well, I mean, I don't think there's aliens at Area 51, and if they're here and it's a conspiracy so deep that that they don't even tell the president." But the first question he answered when he asked, like, "Do you think they're aliens?" he said yes. He thinks, however he phrased it, it was like very bluntly Obama saying yes, there are aliens.
Okay.
And then they just went on with the interview because obviously he's saying yes, there are aliens. No, I don't know. As president, they never told me there are aliens. And it was just all in kind of like a fun, joking type thing.
Okay.
And then somebody asks Trump. They say, and this is all on tape because Trump was talking to the press on Air Force. I think it looked like it was on Air Force One, but they're like, "Oh, Obama said there are aliens. Can you confirm that there are aliens?" And Trump's response is, "Well, he shouldn't have said that. That's classified." and
Jeez.
and he's like, and he's gonna get in trouble for revealing classified information. So we're gonna have to look into this. And Brian Tyler Cohen, talks about this on his show, and he went on Pod Save America and talked about it. But they're like, so Obama was clearly, and Obama issued a press release because
I'm going through YouTube right now, and there is countless Obama clarifies what he said. I think there's a lot of clips like that.
Yeah. He said he's like, no, when I said there are aliens, I meant like it's a big universe. There's got to be aliens out there. Like,
yeah,
yeah. That's what he meant. He meant in a scientific Drake equation way, not as I'm the president and I know there were aliens. But Trump, being a complete moron, by saying, people are like, "Oh, well, Trump said that Obama released classified information. So for the only way that could be classified is if it's true, because otherwise there's no classified information." And of course, Trump was just being an idiot, and I don't think that confirms there's classified information. But
No.
What's ironic, though, is that Trump would be the one revealing classified information by saying it's classified. Obama never said anything that would come close to being classified information, especially because there's no information to reveal. But Trump saying, "Oh, that's classified," means he's confirming that whatever information was there was classified and is now being, declassified or being fired.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny that this stupid little joke, like this fun little part on a podcast, just blew up into this. Obama confirms there's aliens. Trump says Obama revealed classified information. It's dumb from this dumb, stupid question at the end of a podcast.
That's what happens when you've got people that can't take a freaking joke, man. And everything's got to be either an attack or a defense about something, and just the pure idiocy of Trump's response. That's like the classic, like how to get a kid to like tell you that they're lying about something, like when they, say something, you're like, well, because you said that means this, it's so dumb. All of it's so dumb. Well, good. That means Obama knows a little bit about science, at least. To know that, there's a good chance there's aliens out there,
I don't remember when, but what was it? Like his favorite books list, I don't know if this was when he was president or whenever.
I think he still releases that every like the best books that he read this year or whatever.
He at one point he included the 3-Body Problem books on it. So,
there you go.
That's some pretty hard sci-fi, and
that's good. Oh, but that's from a Chinese author, so he's an obvious plant that's been working in the deep state. You just make up whatever you want. Nothing means anything anymore. Nope. All right. Well, I was looking for on YouTube like the video, but I can't find it. This guy posts a lot of stuff, and I can't sift through it while I'm trying to find a link so that people can listen to it if they want to.
I want to say, did the Daily Show do a bit about it? I mean, it's the kind of thing that got to the level where like late night talked about it, or there's probably funny clips of people making fun of Trump, and
it's all over the place, so. I'm sure. But like that, while something like that used to make like headlines, now that's like aliens, whatever. Like we have more important things to deal with than that right now. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my science now, and interesting, mine's genetically relevant as well. So this is the Celtic curse, or Celtic curse. Which way are we supposed to say it? Do you have any idea?
Are we talking about basketball or history? I always thought it was Celtic when it comes to like Irish people, tribes, whatever it is.
Irish?
Is it Irish? Irish? No? Celtic?
Well, okay. So let's dig down a little bit here. This article comes from Science Daily. It was published on February 21st, and the title is Celtic Curse Hotspots Found in Scotland and Ireland with 1 in 54 at risk. So yeah, we're talking Scotland, Ireland. So I think we need to say Celtic. That's how I'm going to say it. Well, I'm speaking about it now. If there's a problem, email us.
I've only heard Celtic when it comes to the Celtics. Other than that, it's always been Celtic. And by that, I mean the basketball team. Okay. So Celtic is what I think it is.
Okay, good. We're in agreement. That means it must be. 2 white guys say it's true. It's true. Researchers have mapped the genetic risk of hemochromatosis across the UK and Ireland for the first time, uncovering striking hotspots in Northwest Ireland and the Outer Hebrides, or Hebrides. I don't know how to say that. In some regions, around 1 in 60 people carry the high-risk gene variant linked to iron overload. The condition can take decades to surface, but may lead to liver cancer and arthritis if untreated. So this is interesting. There is a genetic variant. Let's see, where is it? It's in here. This disease is caused by inherited changes in DNA known as genetic variants. In the UK and Ireland, the main risk factor is a variant called C282Y. Let's see. What does this thing do? Hemochromatosis often develops slowly. Excess iron can accumulate in organs for years or even decades before symptoms appear. If left untreated, it can lead to liver damage, liver cancer, arthritis, and other serious health problems. Early diagnosis makes a major difference. Regular blood donation to lower iron levels is a simple and effective treatment that can prevent much of the harm. I think that's amazing. Like, hey, doctor, I've got hemochromatosis. And like, great, donate some blood. Get it out of there and just make new blood. So, the researchers at the University of Edinburgh analyzed genetic information from more than 400,000 people who took part in the UK Biobank and Viking genes studies. They examined how common the C282Y variant was in 29 regions across the British Isles and Ireland. The highest rates were found among people with ancestry from Northwest Ireland, where about 1 in 54 people are estimated to carry the variant. The Outer Hebrides, or Hebrides, followed closely at 1 in 62, and Northern Ireland at 1 in 71. Mainland Scotland also showed elevated risk, particularly in Glasgow and southwest Scotland. In those areas, about 1 in 117 people carry the variant, reinforcing the long-standing Celtic curse nickname. It said it in here, and of course I'm not going to be able to find it now, but that was because there was a point in the 1800s where a bunch of Irish immigrants moved into Scotland. There we go. Here it is. Among the white... Oh, this is Liverpool. Okay, good. I'm glad I found it because I was wrong. Among white British individuals, those living in Liverpool were 11 times more likely to have a diagnosis than people in Kent. Researchers suggest this may reflect historical Irish migration, as more than 20% of Liverpool's population was Irish in the 1850s. So they can even use this gene to kind of analyze immigration. Migration. Yeah. That's really interesting. Which is really how all of those like 23andMe and other genetic things, they look at your different markers and say, okay, where did that come from? Or where was that? Yeah, it's a similar thing. So now they're calling for community-wide genetic screenings. So now that they've done this analysis and say, hey, here's where the hot spots are, here's where the danger zones are, should we get in there and get more people to genetically screen for this so we can have an even better idea of what's going on, or how to say, oh, you've got it, so here's what you need to do to stave off the effects. The time is okay. This is a quote from Professor Jim Flett Wilson, Chair of Human Genetics at the University of Edinburgh. I'm not going to read all of it, but the last half of this is early detection prevents most of the adverse consequences, and a simple treatment, giving blood, is available. The time has come to plan for community-wide genetic screening in these high-risk areas to identify as many people as possible whose genes mean they are at high risk of this preventable illness. That might be kind of a touchy subject, but how would you feel if I guess there's two different ways to think about this. If doctors and scientists were like, hey, we need a copy of your DNA because of health reasons, for your health, the health of your family, the health of your community, we need that on record to analyze. That versus a politician saying, hey, we need you because this needs to go in your file for reasons. This is a tricky spot. How would you feel about that, though, if you were approached to be like, hey, man, can we have your blood to look at?
I feel like I would be open to giving them my blood, because I don't feel like... I mean, it kind of would depend on who's asking, because I think for science, I'm completely willing to give my blood up. But yeah, if it's something political and there's other things involved, I'd be skeptical. But yeah, I'm totally willing to give up my blood for science.
Yeah, same here. If it helps humanity, if it helps my family, my community, because we can only go back so far in our own genetic lineage, right? Most of us know our parents and grandparents. Once it gets to great grandparents, that's a lot of people, right? That's 4 couples at that point. And then you go a level beyond that, and that's 8, and it just keeps getting more and more. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to keep track of all that stuff, but you have built-in receipts. You have your DNA, right? You have what came from all of them. So if we could, find it. I mean, and this is what the genetic scientists are doing, is they're getting into DNA, to human DNA, and figuring out, okay, where's the stuff? Where do we need to look? What can we fix? What can we, if we know this gene shows up, then we know that this other thing's going to happen. All this stuff. If they want and need more data, give it to the scientists, man. Give them the blood. Give them whatever they want. Give them the DNA. Anyways, that's my thoughts. As a white male podcaster, take it for what it's worth. All right, let's move ourselves right along here. We're at the 45-minute mark again somehow. So we're going to take ourselves a little break. And when we come back, we are doing book club, which this week is movie club, because we both watched Predator Badlands, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll be right back. Hey, you. Yeah, you sitting there listening to this for free, like some kind of podcast freeloader. Look, I'm not saying you owe us, but if you enjoy our deep dives into AI, space, and comic book mayhem, maybe toss a coin to your podcasters. Join our Patreon, get into our Discord, grab some exclusive content, and finally achieve that deep, satisfying sense of superiority over your non-Patreon listeners. Just imagine their sad, uninformed little faces. Patreon.com/Science Faction Podcast, because knowledge is power, and power is best hoarded behind a paywall. And we're back.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. Big thank you goes out to our patrons, Renee and Josh. Thank you so much for being patrons. I hope you enjoyed me talking about the land of Eam and listening to Devin play his guitar. Those are things only our patrons get to hear. So listen to the ad that just played and go be a patron. All right, it's now time for book club. This is great. We got like 15 and 20 minutes left. This is a perfect amount of time. Next week, we are going to be reading All You Zombies by Robert Heinlein. That was published in 1958. Even though zombies is in the title, it's a time travel story, apparently. I haven't read it yet, but the little blurb said it was a time travel story, so sign me up.
It can be both.
It can be both. In 1958, it could be both. It looks like a good 5 to 10 minute read, so it's not going to take you forever, but it's just enough there that hopefully it's a good story. So we'll read that for next week. This week, however, movie club. Predator Badlands. Let's get into it. This movie hit theaters when? November 3rd, 2025. And it just, a week ago, it came out on streaming. Hulu is where I watched it. How did you watch it?
Through Disney, so Hulu.
Yeah, Disney Hulu. That's how our stuff is as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so a little background for the listeners. I'm a fan of the Predator franchise. I'm a fan of the Aliens franchise. All those movies are varying levels of good and enjoyable in certain ways. Predator movies, less so. There's been more misses than hits with the Predator franchise. But if you pay attention to Predator 1 and 2, and then Prey.
I liked the Predator movie, and they're all like Predators. The Predator. Like, I liked the one, I think it was by, now I can't remember the director's name, but excuse me. It had Adrian Brody in it. And it was like a bunch of different humans were dropped on an alien planet to be hunted by predators. That one I thought was pretty cool. I like that one.
I think that was, I want to say that was Predators. I'm trying to find a list here. Oh, here we go. Show. Predators 2010. Let's see. Directed by Nimrod Antal. Produced by Robert Rodriguez. John Davis, Elizabeth Evelyn. Starring Adrian Brody, Topher Grace, Alice Braga, Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne. That was. Oh,
I forgot Walton Goggins was even in that.
I think he's one of the first ones killed. I think that's why.
It's been a while since I've seen that. Huh.
Yeah.
And then The Predator, which came out in 2018, which seemed promising because it was written and directed by I'm opening it, Shane Black, was
Ah.
pretty awful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That one was not good.
yeah.
Um,
So, but then Prey was good, and then this movie,
well, there's
we'll
also
get
Killer of
to.
Killers. Did you ever
Is
watch
that
Killer of Killers?
I have not. That's the
Okay.
animated one.
That's the animated one, but it's done by the same guy that did Prey and Badlands. And so, like, the Yautja language that we hear in Badlands was the same as in Killer of Killers. Like,
I gotta watch that. I'll watch that.
yeah, you should. It's a series of, I think, four different like vignettes of different time periods where predators and humans came into contact with each other, and then there's a big fight at the end.
Cool.
It's
rated
cool.
R.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's
Because
serious
I think
business.
Prey is PG-13, Badlands is PG-13.
Really? Oh.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. I don't really pay attention to that stuff anymore, but that makes sense. The I guess the language and gore would definitely put him up there, but not over the top. Well, okay, so that's where we're at. The last Predators thing that I did was Killer of Killers, which was the next thing after Prey. And so Dan Trachtenberg, he's the guy now. He's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that wanted to do Prey, and they were like, we'll go straight to streaming with that, which is what happened. I don't know if you remember that. And then it hit real big. People were like, wow, this is actually really, really good. And then he got the green light to do Badlands and also Killer of Killers. There's something in here called Holiday Special, but I don't know what that is. That's something completely wild and different.
Yeah,
Never
he
mind.
did 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was pretty good.
Yeah, 10 Cloverfield. That was good.
His upcoming is Waterworld, director in development, but it says TV series. Are they doing a Waterworld TV series?
That's the first I've heard of it, but why not?
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad concept. It's been a while. They never even tried to reboot it yet. Wow.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that had a really cool like Mad Max on the water vibe.
Yeah.
Everyone had jet skis, and then there's big oil tankers, and all kinds of bunch of spam.
Mm-hmm.
No, Smeat. It was called Smeat. Anyways, and then we're not going to talk about all the aliens versus predator things because I think all of those just don't count. So let's get into it. Predator Badlands, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, starring Elle Fanning and Demetrius Schuster Kualamatangi, who was
Predator.
Dak. Dak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dek. D-E-K. Dek. I don't know. Predator sound. What'd you think, man? Just overall, let's start with overall, then we'll get into the nitty-gritty.
Overall, I thought it was really well made. It felt like it was very well planned out, but I was still bored at times.
Interesting. Okay.
But that also is just because it's an action movie. There's not much more you can do with a predator or any type of warrior character who's got to hunt something and gets involved in a subplot or whatever. Like it's just it's really, really well done. I think it's a really good movie. I would watch it again, maybe with my kids when they're old enough, and I think they would really enjoy it. But for me, I'm just I'm just like it's just me. It's I'm the problem, not the movie.
So you think that you are perhaps not a fan of action movies as much as you used to be because you've seen all the action movies?
Yeah, if this had come out 20 years ago, I think I would have been like, oh man, this is the best Predator. Like they just knocked it out of the park.
I
Like
mean,
this is what
yeah.
this is what you're supposed to do with the movie. Like have ideas and have like foreshadowing and like callbacks and like clever uses of things, not just have stuff happen for the sake of having things happen.
Yeah.
You know,
This was a well constructed movie.
it's like
for
I
sure.
watch on Red Letter Media. I watch Best of the Worst a lot, where they look at really bad movies and they critique them and they make fun of them. And it's like it's like screenwriting 101. It's like they go through things and like, why is this character doing this? We haven't established a motivation, or like you've already established this. You could have used that again. Like, why have that in the movie if you're not going to use it again? And this movie does that with like everything. It's like, oh, that made sense. That led to this, and this led to that. And oh, isn't that cool? They used this, and all these little things like ended up coming into play later. I'm like, yeah, that's a good movie. That's like well constructed, well done. It looked great. It was fun, but it's also just an action movie, and I want more.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you. It was a very, very well constructed movie. I enjoyed the plot. It was clever at times. I didn't see the bit of a twist that was in it about the creature twist. We're not going to go spoilers yet. The creature twist, I didn't see coming. But then when it was revealed, I was like, oh, of course. Yes. Wonderful. I liked the Weyland-Yutani robot stuff, especially coming off of Alien Earth and also the latest Alien movie, Romulus.
And that kind of makes this the best Alien versus Predator movie, like using the fact that it's in the Alien universe, but in a way that makes sense and isn't like bad. Like it's just like, oh cool, like that's just, now that these universes are connected, they're the same universe, we can use the elements of the universe but don't have to like force, like shoehorn in the Predator fighting the alien. We can just use the elements of the Alien universe but do it with the Predator. Like that's really cool.
Yeah. So to get into the plot a little bit, Weyland-Yutani is on this planet because they're looking for dangerous biological organisms to weaponize. Right, like the same thing where they're looking for the xenomorph from the alien from Aliens. They're just here looking for other aliens that they can scoop up and do stuff to. And so like once that's established, you're like, okay, that makes sense. That's consistent with what we know of Weyland-Yutani. All the little bits like, oh, there's Mother, the computer. The two ladies look the same. All the other dudes are all the same dude as well. Like they did that without overdoing it. Like you kind of had to pay attention. Like, oh wait, all these guys look the same. They never really focused on it. And then what was great is that when Elle Fanning's character, the main character, which was Thea, is that what it was? Her name?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Tessa. Tessa's her sister, and she's Thea. Yeah. That she's been, ripped in half, and this bird thing has her, and so she's like, "Oh, you're a Yautja." Like the predator species is known to Weyland-Yutani, and as she's like babbling to him, like she activates some kind of universal translator. We've got subtitles for when he talks, which is great. But she makes mention of like, oh yeah, we're still working, or we still haven't cracked sublight travel, or she mentioned something where it was like, you guys can travel super fast, but we, as in humanity, we can't yet. Which was such a, like, in so many movies, you're like, man, why didn't they just like have one line that like established, one little thing? And that for this series is perfect because it can contain Weyland-Yutani to closer to Earth, right? Like at this time, which is unspecified, by the way. We don't know where in the timeline we are, but we know that they haven't cracked faster than light travel or whatever. So they're still, cryo freezing people and sending them out and thawing them out. We're just using androids to do their work because humanity, it's hard for humanity to travel for lengthy periods of time. Great. But then there's also this other sci-fi thing that's happening that they're aware of. And it's like, oh, that's a good hook. Like they know that there's Yautja there now. Maybe they're going to send more troops to like try to recover their tech because they want to try and reverse engineer, whatever. Like once that little bit is established, there's a ton that you can build off of that. One race can go faster than light, the other one can't. And if they're at odds with each other, how does that work? And that was just like, and that was from one line in the movie, and that got my brain just turning like crazy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of CG in this movie.
It was, yeah. That's just life. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. It's funny because my kids don't use CG, computer generated. They just call everything AI.
That's hilarious. I was just gonna say my kids do that.
Yeah.
And I was gonna be like, no. There's a difference. There's a huge difference. Like,
yeah. That's
hilarious because my kids do that.
Because they see something strange online now, and there's a good chance that AI made it, not somebody did it used Photoshop or whatever.
We'll watch an old movie, and what they mean, like, it won't have CGI because it's too old to have CGI, and they'll be like, "Oh, is this AI?" And they're like, "Oh no, this is before AI." And I'll be like, "No, you mean CGI. This is a green screen." Which, it's just
yeah. There's a whole bit
hilarious.
that they don't know about. Like, we were at the age when like the original Predator was out. Like, we knew that was a dude in a suit. And that when you saw his face, that was an incredibly complicated puppet. And now, like, the way they filmed this movie is they had a dude in a suit, kind of, but his face was like cut out so you could see his real face when they filmed it. And then they used his performance to then place the CG over it. So most of the time when you see him, it's a dude with just a face replacement. I mean, I say just, very complicated. They did that beautifully. There was never a time when I looked at Deck and I was like, this is like, it never took me out. I was like, that's a Predator right there. That's what it did for me. Some of the
it's also
other
interesting. Most of the time he didn't have a mask or helmet on, which Predator in like most of the other movies, you don't see their actual face until like only small parts. But this one, he was like, he hardly ever, he did at one point, but I felt like that was part of, like, because the whole idea of the story is you're supposed to connect with him and empathize with him. So it's kind of cool that they made it more of like you see his face all the time.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's also something within the lore of Yautja that they don't get their helmets until after they've done their first hunt, something like that.
Okay.
I could be wrong with that, but yes. And then also, like, the reason why they take off their helmets at the end of every movie to show their faces is that, like, for their kill, it's more honorable to show your face when you're like killing your enemy or something. So that's why they always take it off at the end when they're doing their final fight. But yeah, to see his face the entire time was crazy. And when he would talk, it wasn't just the clicking noises that we've heard in other movies, but using his language and the way his like mandibles moved around and all that. It was cool. They put a lot of work into that, you could tell, because it looked awesome. The other bit that I was impressed with is that Deck is the runt. He is a tiny, malnourished. He's still like, bigger than any human, but or as big as, but he's small.
Even Weyland Yutani, the robots are like, oh yeah, this is a subpar sample.
Yeah, exactly. And when he fights his brother, so the movie opens with like a big Predator versus Predator, Yautja versus Yautja fight, and it's cool to watch. And then like the dad comes out and he's all gray and all that stuff. And you could see like, oh man, he's small. But then him next to Elle Fanning's character, Thea or Tessa, he's like a 6 foot tall dude or whatever's in this costume. So still big, but real, adult, normal Yautja are like 8 or 9 feet are supposed to be, something like that. And it also depends per like subspecies, because there's different, like the one that we saw in Prey are like the wild variant. Their face structure's different. And I think they've throughout the movies they've classified different ones as like, this one's the wild one, this one's the jungle one, and this one's the other type of, super buff ones or something. There's like different types. It's very obvious in Killer of Killers because since it's animated, they exaggerate all the features are exaggerated for everyone because it's animated, right? It's cartoon, so you can really see the difference with their builds, like the slight more wiry ones, the big buff ones, the like animalistic looking ones. Yeah. I like the lore stuff. It's fun. Yeah. What else can we say about this movie? What was it? What was something you didn't, besides the action? Was there anything else in the movie we were like, they could have done that better, or that missed the mark? Anything like that?
I did notice when they introduced the android character, like he's going through that field and you hear her voice, and I just thought that was a weird introduction of her character because I was like, oh, she's just there. Like there was no like, I don't know, just from a directing standpoint, I it's not a bad, it doesn't matter at all.
It caught you off guard. It sounds like,
because I know she's in this movie and they're gonna run into each other, but I just wasn't sure how. But it's just like, oh, it's just her voice from off screen, and there she is. Okay, not a big deal.
It was like, yeah. So you're watching the movie. He's going through this field, and you see that like the whole deal is this planet is like everything's deadly. It's called like Murder World or something, like the Death Planet. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's going through this field, and these things are like puffing up, like they're going to explode when he gets too close to them. And so it's like kind of tense. And then off the side, you hear like, hello. And you're like, what? And it's this, female, happy female voice just coming. And you're like, what? But what?
That's fine. That makes sense though for her character. So it's like, it's
and
not
the way
thing, really.
that Deck reacts to it was I don't want to say realistic, but it made sense the way that he reacted to it. And then eventually when he finds out, oh, you're just a robot, he just calls her tool. Like, yeah, which is great. Like that is perfect. Like, oh, I don't hunt with people. You're not a person. You're just a tool. All right. I can bring you with me then. Like the mental gymnastics he goes through for his honor was great. Like that's wonderful storytelling.
Yeah. Well, and it sort of felt like if Disney was going to do a Predator movie, this is what they would do. Because there were like at the end, and this is getting into spoilers. So spoilers, people. Yeah. Like at the end when he confronts his dad and he's like, I guess you can be part of the tribe. And he's like, I already have my own tribe. And it's all the characters from the movie.
Yeah.
Which is cool, which includes the alien he was hunting, the cute little alien kid that joins him, which is the kid of the thing he was hunting.
Yeah.
And I just thought like there's that, and just having like a cute like alien sidekick kind of thing was very Disney. But
yeah.
But it worked. It worked.
I mean, you say Disney, but it was distributed by 20th Century Studios, which is owned by Disney.
Just Disney.
But but it wasn't like a Disney production.
No.
But yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, it did kind of have that kind of a template at the end, but the other Predator movies are just like, oh, and then here's a big strong man at the end, and that's how those movies end. So it's like,
well, and then there's the other part of the end, which I did think was clever, and I hope they never follow up on it because it's better if they don't follow up on it. Where it seems like the credits are going to start, but then it comes back to the scene, and there's another spaceship there.
Yeah,
and then he's like, oh no, and there's his robot companion's like, oh, who's that? And he's like, mother. So
why do you hope they don't tag up on that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I like that, even though I've already said I don't necessarily want to watch any more of these movies. I like that these movies are not connected. Like I just feel like a sequel would be too much. But I mean, I do like the characters in this movie, so I would be interested to see what happens with them. But that whole joke, which I thought worked well, works with as long as you never pay it off, because it leaves it up to your imagination.
Okay.
And I thought it was clever, but I don't want to actually see the results of that, because that leaves it
Um,
Nothing could make it better than what it already is. It's like, oh, it's a
really?
really like the women of his species are even bigger and more scary, or they're not scary, but they're really intelligent and they manipulate you through their intelligence, or he's gonna feel bad because I don't know, whatever it is, I don't care. Just leave it open ended and we'll make it up ourselves.
Okay, that's fair, I suppose. I mean, I would say that if they came up with with a good idea that wasn't
Hmm.
just one upping, the previous idea, then let's see it. Um, what about from a lore point of view? What do you know about the Yautja females? Anything?
I don't know anything now.
Perfect. I don't know where it's touched upon. Um, I don't think it was in Killer of Killers, but it's established within the canon that the Yautja is a matriarchal society. The women are in charge, and we've never seen that. We've
That's
only
cool.
seen like males on the hunt.
Hmm.
So like taking that last scene from that perspective with that knowledge, I was like, oh, we finally get to see like what are the leaders of the Yautja like, right? Like
Hmm.
we've just seen the hunters going out and hunting, and that's fine, that's cool. But what about the rest of society? And like
I mean,
all of their
I would like.
technology is from a different alien species that they took over. Like they didn't invent that stuff; they took it.
Well, I think I would like it if it was a matriarchal society, but the women were more intelligent and didn't hunt. And they were like, yeah, we're the intelligent people who come up with the technology, and the men are the idiots who go out and hunt. Like, and they don't have to like treat them poorly, like
Right,
put them
right.
down, but they just be like, that's part of our society. Like the female role in our society is to be the more intelligent, like upper class people. And it's because I was gonna say earlier, like the Yautja have like the Klingon problem
Mm-hmm.
of if you're a complete warrior society to the point where every interaction is seen through the lens of fighting and being a warrior. um how do you like, even if you were to say you stole all your technology just to get off planet to be able to steal advanced technology would not be possible. So let's, and there's like one episode of Next Generation where there's like a Klingon scientist. And of course, B'Elanna Torres, she's half Klingon and she's an engineer. And Klingons on their ships have engineers. I mean, they have engineering, they have all the technical aspects of space travel. So they
Right.
are trained in that. But you never see that. They're just all. Oh, and Lower Decks does expand it because you do see Klingons
Mm.
like more in like an actual society role, and like there's that one who's like a farmer and just wants to be a farmer. That's cool.
Yeah.
They exist,
Yeah.
but it's just when you have a race that's just complete war, it's like, okay, well, how do you have anything else besides just destruction? And
Right. Well, at least
so,
with the predator, with the Yautja, it's not about war, but like the hunt, right? Like that whole idea of like go out,
mhm,
kill a thing, and that proves you're worthy of whatever. And if they can,
of getting a PhD in quantum mechanics and then discovering FTL flight.
exactly, yeah. First, you have to hunt a wolf, then you can go to college. Like that. Maybe that's how their society is. We don't know. And like even the
Hmm.
stuff that is like considered canon, is like loose canon. And I think it comes from whatever Dan, yeah,
A loose
a
cannon.
real loose canon. Dan Trachtenberg, who's in charge of all this now, he's got like a masterwork somewhere of like here's how all of this works. Now let's build movies around it. That kind of deal.
Okay, cool.
Um,
Well, I think he's doing a good job. So yeah,
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
be
more
happy
of
if he
this
keeps doing it.
for sure. All right, so Predator Badlands. I think we both would recommend it, but
Hmm.
know what you're getting into. It's an action movie. It's fun. It's not for everyone, but it's clever and it's not stupid. Oh, one thing I had a problem with. Here's my issue.
Okay, yeah.
There's a point in the movie towards the end, so again, spoilers, where he needs to go do a rescue thing, and they do a really quick montage of him going around to all of the other little monsters and aliens that he's come across and turning them into weapons somehow, and
Hmm.
then it goes on his final attack. The snake thing that goes on his shoulder.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. So it's introduced. They're walking around, and all these snake things are coming after them. And Thea's like, "Oh, just feed them some berries, and they won't attack us." And she has like this handful of like sticky berries. She throws it. They eat the berries, and they don't attack the two as they're walking by. And you think like, okay, cool. That's just showing again how deadly this planet is. But then in this montage, they just show him quickly like going to that same place, handing one of them some berries, and then it crawls up on his shoulder, and it's in the same place where like their plasma cannon usually goes.
It fires itself at its enemies.
It spits acid like exactly how Deck would need him to spit acid without any kind of commands or anything.
And then I think it jumps in the way and like takes a bullet for him.
It does. It takes a bullet for him in the end.
Yeah.
And so
that is ridiculous. That's a bit much. I like that whole scene, the idea of using all the things we've seen on this planet as weapons. Like that's a great idea.
All of them, but that one.
But that was definitely that was a stretch.
I mean, the caterpillars that would like explode, sure, right? The plants that also explode, sure, why not? You know, he made his own little like face helmet thing from the hide of this other creature that they had to take down. Great. All that stuff, great. The snake thing, though, without establishing it has some kind of communication or whatever,
without
like
months of training.
Yeah, it would have been like 20 minutes of training. Like it didn't make any sense. Even if he had like thrown the berries at the targets he wants this thing to spit, like something. But it was nothing. It was just acting independently, just defending this guy because he fed him a berry.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's fine. See, that when it got to that point in the movie, I was already bought in. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's aliens on an alien planet. Who knows? I guess. All right. So that was Alien or Predator Badlands. We watched it streaming on Hulu via Disney, so find it that way or however you want to find it. I don't know where else it's available. All right, so we've reached the end. We're here. We did it. Just the two of us. Once again, next week, All You Zombies by Robert Heinlein. Links in the show notes. Devin, do you have any final thoughts for us this evening?
So this is a joke from the comedian I saw last night.
Okay.
This is an impression of a stuck-up Alzheimer's patient. Do you know who I am?
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.